The Masked Singer is a mass popular television entity. Quite frankly, I loved it, and it was fun, a lot of fun, something different than what I usually do. You know, maybe a little less pressure. I thought it would be less pressure, but it turned out to be quite a bit more pressure. But the interesting thing is I want to bring people in, quite frankly, bring them into my voice, and quite frankly, what it is I'm saying. Even if I'm adorned in a giant crab suit, I want them to still hear, lean on me when you're not strong. That's all music has ever been to me, is message, message, message. And so if I can get some more ears to listen in this way, or even come to my normal show and hear me this way, then it's nothing but a win-win. And I had an amazing amount of fun.
So more people will discover the voice, obviously. I mean, why did it seem to take quite some time to discover your voice?
Yeah. Well, I had to, there's a self-discovery that has to happen first. There has to be a self-confidence, a belief that you belong and you deserve and you should be. That has to happen within first. And for me, it took some time. Now, yes, I was knocking on doors for years, and I was sang quite beautifully when I was 18 years old. But in a way, maybe the right people or the right places didn't hear me. And it took some time, but I think my message now, the messages that are in my songs, it took some living. It took some seasoning. It took some even heartbreak. It took some desire or need to get over some difficulty in order to create the messages that I have in my songs. And so I'm okay with the journey. There were difficult years and lean years. I remember many of the members in my family were saying, man, just go with what you studied in college, stop this music dream. But my mother said, you know, I've said many times before she passed away, she said, don't forget your music. And you know, as I look at this picture that's behind us, my brother is there in the hat just below me. And he was the one who, without question, encouraged me every day. I was a shy person, and he was the one person that was constantly had his hand on my back, pushing me. He's like, Greg, let him hear you sing, you know.
So is that, because as you say, your voice must have been beautiful from day one.
Yeah, when I was born.
But is there something about you as an artist that there's a moment where you become a star?
Was there like a moment or like a watershed moment that just like, again, I would have to say, I had not given up my dream of like being a pop star. I never had a dream of being a pop star or anything like that. I had a dream of just allowing people to hear what it is that I wanted to say. And so when I got the funding and got the, you know, to do a proper record, finally when I made this proper record, my first record available to the public widely, when I made Water, I didn't have, I thought it was going to be my only record I would make. And I was like, this is who I am. And, you know, take that, and this is the record I'll die with. But they were like, yeah, we like that. What's next? And so here we start with this beautiful relationship. And right off the bat, the UK audience were on top of that record and right on top of my career, really elevating my career.
So when you talk about what you want to say, tell me a little bit about how you write.
Yep.
You know, we've got, let's hear a little bit of Liquid Spirits. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. Liquid Spirit was written from a sermon from my mother's sermons. She would often, my mother was a preacher, and she would often speak of the qualities of water being like love, you know. So the metaphor for water in liquid spirit is love. So unreroute the river, let the damned water be. There's some people down the way that's thirsty, let the liquid spirit free. The folk are thirsty because of man's unnatural hand. Watch what happens when the people catch wind of the water hitting the banks of that hard, dry land. Now that is my poetry, but I'm synthesizing her gifts that she gave to me, and I'm putting it into song and trying to make something that people can clap their hands to and rejoice to. And quite frankly, sometimes they don't know that they're talking about love. And I try to make them feel it, but sometimes they're just clapping their hands and dancing.
And love is your refrain, but not in a simplistic way.
Not in a simplistic way. It is love through difficulty. It is love through fire, love through pain. Because, I think it is a pie in the sky to just think, love, 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 and yes, we all love this kind of love, but I have a song called No Love Dying, and one of the lyrics is, there's some doubt that's out about this love, but I won't let it be. There will be no love dying here for me. You know that there are slings and arrows that come in the way of love. And when I say love, I don't just mean romantic love. I mean acceptance. I mean mercy. I mean kindness. I mean equality, decency, fairness. This is the love in which I'm talking about. In the face of all of those things, there is some difficulty. There can be some problems with fairness. Fairness can be uncomfortable. Equality can be uncomfortable. But in the face of that discomfort, you know that equality is right. So let's keep pushing towards that mark. Now, if we get weak, then we will fall to the how should we say it? To the easiness of selfishness.
Do you feel that's where we are falling right now? I mean, there's a lot of difficulty around equality and
I travel
love in your terms.
I travel around the world and I see bits of it everywhere. Without question in the U.S. and without question from our president. I mean, it's quite frankly, maybe it's shocking for people around the world, but it's for me as an American who has certain thoughts about how we are and who we are and how we've grown and what has happened since the 60s. This new conversation is quite difficult for me. The new political conversation in America is
it personally painful?
It is, because there is a reason why there are Black universities. There is a reason why there is a Black History Month. This isn't some carve out because you're special. This is an acknowledgement that you've not been allowed to fully sit at the table of democracy. This is a pause to say, wait a minute, we need to adjust some unrighteousness, some unfairness that has happened. And so if we have a short memory, then yes, then again, equality can be uncomfortable. Inclusion can be uncomfortable. If you're the person who've always been, enjoying the fruits of success.
How profound do you think is this unwriting of history? How lasting?
I hope that we come to a place of easy understanding. I don't, listen, I've written protest songs, but I write protest songs in a way of documentary. I don't want people suffering and struggling in the streets, and I you know, no violence. This is not the way. For me, I would hope we come to some understanding, and by way of conversation, by way of culture, by way of art, by listening to each other, by understanding each other's music and the things that we say and feel. It's work. It's
But
work.
is there a place where those two Americas are meeting? You know, or are they coexisting alongside each other and not engaging with each other?
Well, I think that there are moments of connection and disengagement. I think there are political powers that are kept fat and healthy by keeping people separated as well. And for me, the people who have the voices of inclusion and togetherness, I think, I don't know, that just seems like the right way. Yes, I mean, it's work. It's work. It is work to love.
And in your coming tour, I mean, you're addressing this stuff, are you, in the songs you sing?
I do address these things. I do it subtly. I'm never trying to beat anybody over the head with a spoon of righteousness or fairness. It's just in the music. It's just in my feelings. I love everybody. I really do. When I travel this world, from Japan to Israel, to the Middle East, to the southern United States, everywhere I go in this world, I'm trying to impart, this feeling of we can do this, and there are bits and pieces of it in my music. Sometimes it's even in the sound of my voice. It's like, That's the sound of prayer. That's just how my mother prayed and my grandmother prayed. But I'm not. You understand what I'm saying? I'm expressing a desire for peace and for love and for people to have just a better life. But I'm doing it in melody and in song.
Tell me about When Love Was King. Are you going to sing that?
When Love Was King. When Love Was a King is a song that I wrote in kind of the mental space that I was in, as I wanted to write a song for Nat King Cole, who was long dead before I wrote the song. I wanted to write a song for Nat King Cole to sing to Martin Luther King. But it's a message of racial equality. It's a message of labor equality, equality between men and women. There's a line in the song where the king, he said, he lifted up the people that were on the underneath, and all of his wealth he did bequeath to those who toiled without a gain. Who are the people who have toiled without a gain? Those minimum wage workers who have toiled and worked, those laborers, those blue-collar people who have worked, those slaves who have worked without a gain. And so I think about the least ones often in my music. The hungry, the lonely, the addicted, the afflicted. I think about those people, and they should be considered. And it's in the music. And maybe, people hear a romantic sound in my voice, but there's also a plea for, equality for these people in my songs. Not every one of my songs. I'm not, I love to sing a love song as well, I love dance music, and I love to have fun, which was again, the reason why I was a crab, you know.
Well, the thing the Masked Singer also did and highlighted about you is that you're not just a jazz singer.
Yeah, yeah, not just a jazz singer. Right, they had me, you know, singing a little rock and roll, you know. I really had fun just expressing myself in different ways, and really just, you know, really expressing my humanity on that show. And so, and I know the children love it, and so that's another thing as well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's remarkable to hear you speak because you also sound very optimistic.
Super optimistic. I think that's the only way I can be. It's something that my mother instilled in me. It's in my music. I think I'll stay that way. I think even in the face of you know, even in the face of maybe a misunderstood desire for, how shall I say this? Even in the face of what I consider to be some political challenges around the world, I think we are better now than where we were many years ago, and so there's reasons to be optimistic, and so, you know, I think you have to stay optimistic if you're a person who desires for peace and for hope. My musical career started in Russia and Ukraine, and I have many friends from both Russia and Ukraine that message me and talk to me. And we talked sometimes about when I was there and when we played music together. And it is quite difficult to see the world in so much turmoil and talk to these people who are literally running for their lives. And I met them and became close to them only because of the reasons of music. And even as they're running for their lives, for a while, it was country to country. And they, you know, sometimes they would message me and they couldn't tell me where they were. But we still talk about music. You know, we still talk about some of these songs that I sing now, you know, singing them when I met them in both Russia and Ukraine. So,
could you just explain what do you mean by your career started in Russia and Ukraine? How?
Well, the first stamp on my passport is Ukraine. I was working at a little jazz club in Harlem, and there was somebody that often people would ask, "Oh, when are you coming to Europe?" And I was like, "I don't even have a passport yet." And so somebody, this musician, booked a small tour for me in Ukraine, and then later in the tour we went to Russia. And this was the beginning of my international. This is like outside of, you know, my little audience that I had in Harlem, my weekly gig. This is when I really started to blossom, because the venue in Harlem was maybe you could fit 50 people. The moment I came to Russia, we did a little work on the radio stations, and you know, I sang a couple of times on the radio. Next thing I know, it was 800, 1,000 people at every show. And that let me know that my voice translates to larger audiences, and even sometimes it translates to people who don't even speak my language. Because we went deep into Siberia and deep into, you know, to Ukraine. So yeah, it was a really extraordinary experience.
Well, hopefully you'll get back there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Gregory Porter, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.